In a few moments, as we do every Sunday and every major feast day in the church, we will profess our faith using what is called the Nicene Creed, or occasionally the Apostles' Creed. These two creeds, these two professions of what we believe is the essentials of God's will and revelation to us, came into being about 300 years after Jesus. It's interesting to remember that the early Christians, who mostly were Jewish people, had to assimilate the teachings of Jesus and what he had made known to us about God against their own background, which was a strict monotheism, a belief in only one God. And so Jesus comes among them as the Son of God. And Jesus makes known the presence of the Spirit of God. And so the early Christians, over a long period of time, through prayer and meditation and discussing with each other and listening to the voice of the Spirit whom Jesus had promised them, saying, "The Spirit will lead you into all truth." These early Christians eventually came to understand what we call the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and Spirit, not three gods, but one God. And that is the feast we're celebrating today. Sometimes it's easier to look at the artistic expression of our beliefs, whether it's in music or in art, to come to a deeper understanding. And for most people, the creeds are not what they remember. It's the images of their churches or the words of their hymns that really bring home the meaning of these revelations of Jesus. In many churches, the Trinity is portrayed as an old man sitting on a throne representing the Father, and a young man holding a cross representing Jesus the Christ, and a dove, a white dove, representing the Holy Spirit. Or sometimes in a less graphic way, there is the triangle, the equal-sided triangle as a symbol of the Holy Trinity. These expressions are usually something that comes from the Western church, the part of church where we are. But in the Eastern church, where Christianity first developed, in what we call Israel or Palestine, in Lebanon and Syria and Iraq and Egypt, and up into what is today Turkey, these were the people who developed, under the influence of the Spirit, our understanding of the revelation of Jesus. And in that part of the church, in the Eastern church, the images that we use are not used to represent the Trinity, but they talk about the Trinity as being the Father, the Son, and the Spirit in a wonderful dance, each one giving way to the other in movement and in love, and each one emptying themselves out into the other person. It's a very mysterious picture to us, but it's a wonderful image of the continual moving, loving relationship that exists between the Father and the Son and the Spirit. We should probably think about that a little bit, because isn't it true that what Jesus came to do was to call us into that Trinitarian life? And that's perhaps why we celebrate the Feast of the Holy Trinity at the end of this long period of time where we have been thinking about piece by piece all that God has done for us from the birth of Jesus to the resurrection of Jesus to the ascension and the coming of the Spirit. And this Sunday sort of brings it all together, because it shows us why Jesus did all these things, why God sent him among us, to draw us into the life of the Trinity, as if it were a dance, that we may be partakers of God's life always. The dance floor is our lives, the way we are existing in our time and place. The partners in this dance are the Trinity, and we are called to join them, and eventually we will if we remain faithful. One thing can be said about us: We Christians are called to join the dance. We are not called to be wallflowers.